I am speaking briefly this morning on the subject, the essence of Christianity. What is Christianity all about? What is the use of going to church? What is the product of going to church? There are those in church today for maybe a part of social activity as well. And there are those in church in search of miracle. Problems of life too much. So let me go and let God help me. What is the essence of Christianity? I want to say that anything we do in church that did not end us in heaven was a waste of life. Waste. What is the use of the miracle of walking out of a wheelchair and ending in hell? The same person that was healed from the wheelchair ended in hell. What is the use of the kind of miracle that the eyes are opened, the blinded eye was open, and then the end is still hellfire? I mean, what is the use being in church and then ending in hell with those who didn't go to church at all? Ending in the same place with prostitutes. Waste. Take your seat. So it is very, very important that we ask ourselves this question: what is the essence of this whole thing? The disciples were called Christians in Antioch. The reason is they observed them, they looked at them, they knew who they were before, and they are seeing who they are now, and they realized that something drastically changed. They could look into their lives, and the only thing that their lives reminded them about was Christ. So they gave them the nickname Christian, that is little Christ. The followers of Jesus were given that nickname. That is, you remind us of Christ. These are called them Christlets. The essence of Christianity is one: change into the nature of Christ. Transformation into the nature of Christ. In other words, anybody who has ever known you before you ever met Jesus should see you now, and the only thing your life reminds him about is Christ. Your life makes me to think about God. Your life makes me to remember God. Your life makes me feel like a sinner. Change, transformation into the nature, into the character of Christ. That is the major essence of Christianity. It's not one, it's the major, is the major essence of Christianity. Christian life that is unchanged is a useless waste of effort. Every church attendance that doesn't change a person's life is a waste of life. Wastage. That is wasting time in church and still ending in the flames of hell. It's a waste. Any attendance to church that does not change a man's life is a waste. And one of the greatest pain to the father is to see unchanged children coming before him all the time with their character intact. Beloved, the greatest tragedy that can befall anybody is to waste time on it, claiming to be serving God, and then finding oneself in the eternal flames of hell. You won't forgive yourself for all eternity. If I had known, I would have been more serious with God. If I had known, I would have taken God more serious, taken the word of God more serious. And the disciples were called Christians, little Christ, Christlets, first in Antioch. They looked at Jesus Christ one day and they told him, you convict us of sin. In the same manner, people should look at you and you convict them of sin. That is, for sinners to feel at home around you is an abomination. For unbelievers to feel comfortable in your presence and still carry out their unbelievous lifestyle under your watch is an abomination. It is an evidence of the absence of the nature of Christ. One of the major assignments of any true pastor is to tell people raw truth. I want to tell you this truth. If your life is not impacting on your world, if people are not looking at you and desiring to come closer to God, if people are not changing near you, if your life is not challenging people to become better, then you are wasting your attendance of church. It's a wastage of church attendance. It's the same like being at a beer parlor. It's a wastage of church attendance. The disciples, we are called Christians, first in Antioch. What areas, what kind of change are we expected as Christians in our lives? Number one is change in life's priorities. Life's priorities. Change in that which matters most to us. Change in life's priorities. The priority of a Christian can never be the same as the priority of the world. Life's priorities. For the child of God, he said, seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. The things that matter most to the world can never be the same thing that matter most to us. Am I communicating? I don't know about you, but I don't feel comfortable spending money until I have given God what belongs to him. Am I speaking to somebody here? In the way we spend our time, spend our money, and focus on our priorities, it determines how changed we are. What are the priorities of our lives? It is change in life's priorities. Number two is change in habit and lifestyle. Change in habit and lifestyle. Change in conduct. Habit and lifestyle. When an unbeliever comes late for work and he came by 9 o'clock, he will still write 7:45 or 7:30. When a Christian does the same thing, he's headed to the same destination with that sinner. Do you understand what I'm talking about? When unbelievers carry their products, they mix cement with some things or rebag some things so that they can make more gain. They mix petrol and kerosene or something so it can increase in bulk. All right? They do all manner of things. If a child of God has the same kind of habit, he has the same destination with the sinner. We live in a generation today where some examination halls is more like a discussion center. The teacher turns his back. Question papers and answers have been exchanged. There are people with degree certificate today, and that certificate is not higher than toilet paper, than toilet tissue, because they don't deserve such a degree. They cheated their way to have an ordinary paper that is not higher than tissue paper, and then on their destiny's journey they are wondering why they are struggling, and they are putting pastor under pressure to pray for miracle to happen for a degree that they did not earn. Is somebody hearing something here today? Take your sin in the presence of the Lord. That the whole world is doing it does not make it right. The standard of God remains sure. It remains very, very sure. There are centers they call miracle centers. Nobody fails. A. What a useless A. Hell-bound A. distinction in hellology. Are you hearing what I'm saying here today? What a waste of time, waste of life, waste of energy. Do you understand what I'm talking about? But there are many times that somebody is giving money from the office, and there's something they call the retirement of account, to retire and say this was what and what. Not that they gave you and say this is your allowance for this, but this is something to be retired. No change. Take this, no change. Yet church going does not stop. In fact, you come early and stay until everybody has left. What is the use of church attendance that does not change lives? And what is the use of church attendance that still end the man in hell? There must be change. Change in habit. There must be change in lifestyle. Thirdly, there must be change in appearance. Change in appearance, change in look. I don't care what anybody says. There is a godly look and there is an ungodly look. If you see a real godly person, there is a look they carry, an appearance, a persona. If you see an ungodly person, there is a look. Let nobody deceive us that we live in an era of liberty and everything is permissive. Is a lie from the pit of hell. I know in those days in the village, based on both correct culture and godly culture, ladies will find it difficult to sit on bicycle like this. They sit and cross their leg on the other side. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? That's a level of decency and modesty. They sit on the other side like this. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. And cross their leg like this. Am I communicating? You see, Solomon talked about the attire of a harlot. In Proverbs chapter 7 and in verse 10, he saw a woman, he said, with the attire of a harlot. Proverbs 7:10. And somebody said there is no dress like that. What is the attire of the harlot? The attire of the harlot is the attire that markets the flesh as a good for use. Markets the flesh as a product to be exploited. Right? When you come to any organization, they market their products. In these end times, there is too much flesh marketing going on. The tighter, the better. Tight at the back, tight at the chest, tight at the sides, so that you can properly market flesh. They wear it to the disco and wear it to church. And we say God is not watching. Why do we deceive ourselves? You clap and sing for nothing and still end in hell. Do you understand? The tighter the better is the marketing of the flesh. Instead of us advertising our spirituality, we are a generation of people advertising our carnality. See how fat my chest is. See how fat my back is. See how fat my sides are. Just take a look. Just take a look. And when people look at you, the first thing that comes to their mind is immorality. You are now directing people in direction that will lead them in damnation. And yet, I am a daughter of Zion. I am a child of God. What happens to decency? What happened to dignity? Do you understand what I'm talking about? One of the worst things that can happen to a church person is to become a tool in the hand of Satan. Do you understand? The tragedy is that many children of God has joined the children of the devil to fulfill Satan's vision. Take your seat.